it's Ashley, and I want to discuss our last 3 chapters. I have some notes, so I am going to peek at my notes a little bit. But so chapter 4, we focused on gender differences and gender bias. And what really stood out to me is that girls often earn higher grades, but report low confidence, especially in math and science. And that is something I relate to superbly. Like, I have so much love for our women in STEM because that is something I cannot wrap my brain around. I love and appreciate all of it, but math is just such a struggle, and I always suffered low confidence. I even suffer it now. I have to take algebra, and I am dying inside. So this really stood out to me. But what also stood out to me, it's not always about ability. It's about perception and expectations and the subtle messages that students receive. The idea of the loss of voice also really stood out to me, especially someone going into education. If students don't feel confident speaking up, that impacts everything long term. So that's what I got from chapter 4. And then chapter 5 builds on that by talking about multicultural education. And this is a great big one for me. Especially, our area, we are we're diverse. Even in small little Panhandle, Nebraska, we are diverse, and we can't forget that. And everything is very politically charged right now. And, we're getting separated. There's just so much going on that this piece is really important as educators to adapt and study and be better. So I love the idea that there isn't just one correct lens to view history or learning through. Effective multicultural teachers don't just add diverse content. They set the high expectations, they give meaningful feedback, and intentionally reflect students' cultural backgrounds in the classroom. That piece really aligns with what I believe in as a hopeful art educator. And representation matters. And I think that's a piece I will definitely carry with me as an educator. Students need to see themselves in what they're learning. Humans need to see themselves in what they're learning. So then we jump into chapter 6. Chapter 6 hits even closer to home for me because my job is in special education, and I see all of these ideas implemented in place, and I see what works and what's a struggle. Like, there's room for improvement in special education. And I do think we're on the right path, but there's still things that need to be fixed. So the discussion of IDEA or IDEA reminded me of how critical our evaluations, our IEP goals, and that least restrictive environment really is. But the ability grouping section made me pause because that's something I see every day. My 5th graders got ability grouped, and we are seeing not positive effects from it. Unfortunately, when you ability group the low end of that, there's behaviors within that. Behaviors go in with a lot of our special education. They just overlap. So ability grouping all of these behavioral children, you're dealing with chaos. You're dealing with first-year teachers not knowing how to deal with behavior and just wanting to teach the kids. So with that, seeing all those challenges grouped together, sometimes grouping is meant to support learning, but it can also reinforce those labels and limit their opportunities. The assumption that intelligence is fixed or reflected fully by an IQ score just doesn't match what I see daily. The growth is real. So overall, these chapters connect through one big idea. Expectations matter, whether it's gender bias, cultural representation, representation, or just ability grouping. The way we structure our classrooms shapes how our students see themselves. As a future teacher, that feels like a huge responsibility, but also it can be an opportunity for us. So that's what I got from our last 3 chapters. I'm sorry this is a little longer. 3 chapters was hard to smush into a nice short video, but all right. See you guys.